Hello and welcome to Hops and Bros. This week,
We're talking about something that's really hyped up right now, and we're, of course, talking about...
the Brut IPAs.
Ooh.
For an open window on the crowded world, Max and Chris from Ups and Brew. Ups and Brew. Welcome to Ups and Bros. Yeah.
Alright, so it's no secret that there's a couple different beers that are very popular. So you've got your lagers, you've got your light lagers, and then in third place, as the most popular beer out there, is the IPA.
Ooh.
So it's no surprise that there's a bunch of different, I guess, ways to interpret the styles. I mean,
Yeah.
we've talked about the Milkshake IPA in the past, the Session IPA a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
and the New England IPA a long time ago. And now this week, the Brut IPA, which is a weird one.
Yeah, and if I'm not wrong, New England IPAs was kind of like the subject we talked about this time last year. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we're around
It could be, I
the
don't know.
same field. And it's super new, and so new that we not even had the chance to drink the beer yet. The style.
That's true. It started in California. That's the first place you saw it go, and then I've heard news of it heading to Chicago as well. And there's also a brewery in Ottawa, well, in Gatineau, that is doing a collaboration with a brewery in Ottawa. So it's going to be interesting. Now, what I find really cool is how the East and the West are constantly in battle for the best IPA. I mean,
It's
before
crazy.
the New England, you had the West Coast IPA, then you got the New England IPA that took control, and now they're back with the Brut IPA, which is completely different than your New England IPA.
Yeah, and it's just mind-blowing how like brewers just go over the board creatively, pushing the IPAs to somewhere I wouldn't have even thought about back when I started drinking beer, when I had my first American IPAs, my first West Coast IPAs. For me, this was IPAs, and there's nothing else to go with or to go forward with, I guess. But now we're
Yeah, with the Brut,
blasted
they
through.
went. Yeah, with the Brut, they went somewhere completely different and completely opposite than your hazy New England. So that's why I'm actually really looking forward to trying it, because I think it's a step in the right direction. The Milkshake IPA was an interesting style. I don't know if it's going to stick around a while.
Yeah.
I've got mixed feelings about it. Sessions IPA, now pretty good. I have nothing negative to say about. Black IPAs always hit or miss. And this guy, Brut IPA, is it just a fad or is it staying? I don't know. Time will tell. Now, Chris, what's a Brut IPA?
So Brut IPAs, I think there might be some misconception about the fact that it needs to be fermented with champagne yeast, which is not really what's going on with this beer. So yes, it could, but it's still not a staple thing with Brut IPAs. So Brut, where did it start it off? Because we have Brut in the word and IPA. So you guys know IPA, but Brut, it's the right word for the champagne classification for the driest champagnes or driest sparkling wines out there. So your beer needs to be, first of all, high carbonation level in your IPA. It needs to be bone dry, like super bone dry, and it needs to get plenty of hop aromas. It could go from floral, spicy to fruity, but very, very low bitterness. So it's a complex way to see your IPAs usually. And Max, since you're at brewing school right now, I think you know, like, there's some big steps to take when you do a bone dry beer, if I'm not wrong.
I mean, the first big step is in your sugar conversion in the wort. So the way you have it bone dry is by having virtually no residual sugars for your fermentation. To do that, you use your, again, we've said this word before, amylase. I suck at pronouncing these
I have the
things.
word right here.
It is amylase. I don't know how to pronounce it. Amylase?
Amyloglucosidases.
Yeah, amylase. It's a protein enzyme that's going to break down your sugars. We've talked a bit in the past, but I'll go through it again this one time.
It's a big part in the brewing of this.
It is a
before
huge
I'm cutting
part.
you off, it's a big part, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. So basically, the sweeter the sugar, the easier it is to. The sweeter we perceive the sugar is, the easier it is to break down for us and also for yeast. So by having your beta amylase or alpha amylase in your wort, you are converting starch into sugars, fermentable sugars, and by adding more enzymes, amylase enzymes, you can break down your starch even more into simpler sugars so that your yeast can eat every single ounce without leaving anything. So, if you will, it's the exact opposite of a milkshake IPA. So on paper, it should be a great beer.
I'm totally up for that. Yeah. Don't at me, Craig, because yes, milkshake IPAs, they still suck. I'm an advocate for that. No worries.
Again,
But,
I think it's
of
an
course-
interesting style, but I'm looking forward to trying out the Brut to see what's the complete opposite of a milkshake.
Exactly, and like you said, like the use of enzymes really break down the sugars and leaves you with a nice fermentable wort, which will produce at the end a high carbonation bone dry beer. So it's really built around the fact that you need to use pale malts, not the crystal malts, because they have some dextrin in there, right? I'm not wrong with it, Max? Or I'm good?
Well, it's because your crystal malt will have a lot of non-fermentable sugar, so you don't want to use that. So that's why your malt profile is going to be mostly pale malts. You can also use Pilsner or anything that's very basic Turo. And yeah, you would want to lit your complex malts, your roasted malts and all that stuff for sure. Okay, what else?
High five to myself. that was pretty good, pretty good. Then from the hoppiness side of the beer, I'm not really common with like the dry hopping and the way it should work, but to build the proper like IPA with low bitterness, correct me if I'm wrong, it's adding the hops at the end of your boil, then using dry hop, right?
Yeah, so basically there's 3 phases where you can add your hops: begin a boil, during your boil, or at the end / after. So in this case, dry hopping is usually done towards the end of fermentation because your essential oils and your hops and your alpha acids are gonna mess with your yeast. So your yeast might start eating some some essential oils, and it might create something funky, or the CO2 that's released by your yeast might also affect your essential oils in your hops. Another trick that some people have been doing, especially with fruit, I'm not sure if it's really done with hops, I don't think so, but it'd be interesting to see, is actually adding it in your bright tank after you've carbed it, or close to when you're end of carb. So it mixes up in your beer, and the CO2 doesn't extract all your essential oils, it keeps it intact. Because what's going to happen with CO2 is that it is going to activate your essential oil, take it into its little particles, and then bring it out of your fermenter or your bright tank or whatever.
Ooh, interesting. We're always learning something here. So overall, like the Brut IPAs, it's a growing style right now. California is craving for it. It's their answer to the New England IPA. It's slowly coming here.
Oh, that's what I wanted to add as well.
Yeah.
The reason why they might be using more champagne yeast as well is that it creates a little more carb. So if you want it sparkly, you want it drier, that would be a good yeast to use technically, although
Okay.
I don't know if I'd do 100% champagne. I'd probably just do it bottle condition depending on what the style is.
I think
But
that
anyways.
could be like a good way to mix it up together and make your Brut IPA a little bit more complex. And I'm looking forward for like the different variation it could have, like barrel aging, or like maybe adding some Brett's to it. Like mixing Brett and Brut IPA together might create something really interesting. Like I'm super excited for this new style compared to milkshake IPAs.
And again, I hate bringing milkshake IPA, so I'm not going to. I'm going to bring up New England's. I was very excited for New England's. I think it's an excellent beer, and it is, up to now, my favorite IPA style that's out there. So that's why I'm looking forward to trying other types of IPAs that are coming out. And the Brut IPA seems like something I would enjoy to some extent, because I do like a bit of sweetness in my IPAs. So, I mean, we'll see. Well, only time will tell.
Yeah, bring it. So, just to kind of like round things up, your Brut IPA will bring like hints of citrus, gooseberries, a little bit of grapes, tiny bit of like a pale straw bone dry feel to it, with a nice effervescence to it.
Effervescent, yes.
But it's also quite complex to brew, so I don't know. For me, everything looks like complex to brew, but maybe it's just magic at one point.
Everything is to some extent for sure. In this case, the challenge really is for your enzymes to break down as much sugar as possible, because it seems to be the staple of this style. Yeah, so as soon as you can get your hands on a bottle or two, we'll figure out a way so I can get one and we can do a review on it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to let you drink that one alone. Great Lakes has one?
Great Lakes.
Okay.
Great Lakes pulling out one in probably the next few weeks. Same thing for Floral with Brasseries by Canada. I'll try to get a can and worst comes to worst, I'll just send a can straight up to your place and we'll have to review that thing and maybe do a 101.5 update on this fantastic new style out there.
Definitely. Now, if you liked the video, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments below which style or which aspect of beer you would like for us to dive into next time.
Yeah, because we have plenty of good ideas, but you might come up with the better one.
Out, so I've got no idea what you said.
That was cool. That's cheesy, but cool.
Be a good ending to this video.
I think you froze, Max. Max? Yep, you froze. So I think that's the end of the video. Hopefully it turned out good.